When this occurs, OSHA requires that employees be protected and that shoring, bracing, or underpinning be provided as necessary to prevent the dislocation of soil beneath the structures in the vicinity. Additionally, spoil, the excavation material, can exert great pressure on the excavation walls. So spoil must be placed 2 feet or more from the edge of the excavation and be barricaded or retained in an effective manner. Vibrations or sudden shock from passing vehicles or railways, blasting, equipment such as trucks or pile drivers, and some tools can contribute to cave-ins by loosening the soil. Stronger support in these conditions is vital to the safety of anyone in the trench or excavation. Whatever support system is used, workers should always apply shoring starting from the top of the trench or excavation and working down. In installing the shoring, care must be taken to place the cross beams or trench jacks in true horizontal position and to space them vertically at appropriate intervals. These braces also must be secured to prevent sliding, falling, or kickouts. Installing the shoring should closely follow the excavation work. It's dangerous to allow trenches to remain unshored even if no work is being done in them. Dirt walls will slough off, causing dangerous overhangs. The longer a trench is left unsupported, the greater the chance of a cave-in. In some cases, the contractor will have to guard against an unstable excavation bottom, such as below the water line. Sheeting may have to be driven below the bottom of such an excavation to add to the soil stability. Shoring systems must be inspected daily by a competent person. Inspections also are required after rainstorms or any change in conditions that can increase the possibility of a cave-in or slide. If dangerous ground movements are apparent, all work in the excavation must be stopped until the problem has been corrected. In case of an emergency, workers must be able to leave the trench quickly. When employees are required to be in trenches 5 feet deep or more, adequate means of exit, such as a ladder or step, shall be provided and located so as to require no more than 25 feet lateral travel. Ladders must be in good condition, extend from the floor of the trench to 3 feet above the top of the excavation, and be secured at the top. As soon as the work is completed, the trench should be backfilled as the shoring is dismantled. After the trench has been cleared, workers should remove the shoring from the bottom up, taking care to release jacks or braces slowly. In unstable soil, rope should be used to pull out the jacks or braces from above. A greater awareness of the safety problems to be overcome in excavations, particularly by the individuals who design and install the shoring, will help end cave-in hazards in the construction business. There can be no shortcuts or risk-taking. It's the responsibility of every individual on the job site associated with excavations and trenching operations. To prevent exposure to harmful levels of atmospheric contaminants and to make sure the air you breathe is not harmful, there are a couple of testing and control requirements. When there is an oxygen deficiency, which means atmosphere contains less than 19.5% oxygen, or a hazardous atmosphere exists, or could reasonably be expected to exist, such as in excavations, in landfill areas, or excavations in areas where hazardous substances are stored nearby, the atmospheres in the excavation shall be tested before employees enter excavations greater than 4 feet in depth. Adequate precautions shall be taken to prevent employee exposure to atmospheres containing less than 19.5% oxygen and other hazardous atmospheres. These precautions include providing proper respiratory protection or ventilation as required in OSHA regulations. Adequate precautions shall be taken, such as providing ventilation to prevent employee exposure to an atmosphere containing a concentration of flammable gas in excess of 20% of the lower flammable limit of the gas. When controls are used that are intended to reduce the level of atmospheric contaminants to acceptable levels, testing shall be conducted as often as necessary to ensure that the atmosphere remains safe. There are a number of things to remember in trenching and excavations, but let's just name a couple of important items we haven't fully explained in the program. The angle of the repose should be determined on each project by a competent person. That's the individual capable of identifying existing and predictable hazards in the surroundings or working conditions which are unsanitary, hazardous, or dangerous to employees, and who has authorization to take corrective measures to eliminate them. Daily inspections of excavations, the adjacent areas, and protective systems shall be made by a competent person for evidence of a hazardous situation. An inspection must be conducted prior to the start of work and is needed throughout the shift. Inspections shall also be made after every rainstorm or other hazard-increasing occurrence. It goes without saying, but we'll say it again. All trenches or excavation should be sloped or shored or otherwise protected. No exceptions. Last, but certainly not least, if you think the trench or excavation is unsafe, do not enter it. Safety is important, and in trenching and excavations, safety is absolutely critical. Don't take chances. Follow the rules, and always take time for safety, because you're worth it.